All right, I'm on a job on the lakeside. So this is actually a house on the same lake as my parents. Their house is right over there, the blue one in the center. And this is a new construction for a family that has a couple other houses on the lake, actually. They're a big family, and they're having this whole wall redone in the front because it's just pretty much nothing left. I was subcontracted by my family friend who actually lives a house over from my parents, and he does masonry work. He's actually the family friend I did a couple jobs for, doing that driveway on one of the last videos, clearing out the muddy backyard and all that stuff. And since he does masonry work, he's going to be redoing this whole wall up in the front. So for us to do that, I have to remove all of the rocks and overgrowth and everything, starting from this oak tree, going all the way down and through the woods area. So as you can see in here, the old stone wall with the concrete tops. It's on both sides, comes down through here. I'm going to try to take all of this out. I'm going to take this stump out. And it's just all old rock down through here that I have to snag out of here. So this tree that's built around with this wall, based on what an arborist had seen, it's likely that this tree was existing before the wall was built. So wherever the wall was built, it's likely pressed up against the root system at this point. And there are some roots that go back, but the tree isn't on the plan for the site. So I'm going to try to work around it and save it, but if it gets damaged, it might have to come down. And again, once I take out a lot of that supporting structure, a lot of that root ball system is going to be exposed. So I guess whatever happens, happens. And then down on this side, it's going to be kind of tight to get over here, but I'm going to be trying to scrub out all of this stuff, take down a couple of these smaller trees, and work my way all the way over here up into basically where the end of that silt fence is, grabbing out whatever I can reach. So it's going to be a little tough because these trees over here, I might have to dig out some of this area to get the machine closer in. But I think if I just break a couple of those branches, I'll be able to reach almost all the way down there. But I figure this will be a nice job for the 50, and the SteelWrist gives me a lot of extra reach, manipulation, and excited to use it. Along with that, I also picked up a set of pallet forks and a sorting bucket. So this sorting bucket will be nice. It's the same dimensions as the grading bucket. It's just that it allows, finer material to fall through. So when I'm working down in the water, I can sort out and screen the rocks really easy, and it'll let me save some material on this job and other jobs where I want just some nice rocks, or I want to get the smaller stuff and use it to top the areas. Also, it's the middle of January right now. Usually the lake would be frozen, and usually it would be about a foot lower. But since we've had like 6 to 8 inches of rain over the last week, it is pretty much like summer height right now. So I'm gonna sneak in here to put the camera down. top slabs came off nicely and easy to do with the grapple. The rest of this I'll do with the sorting bucket. But before we swap over that, I want to try to get down to this end, grab those slabs off, and grub out all that stuff so I can get all of the grapple stuff done, and then just swap over to buckets. Alright, I got all this area kind of grubbed out, all the big stuff, the tree that was coming out, some of the branches off that pine tree. Really what I'm going to do now is toss on the buckets and go through here and pull out all the stone, all the rubble, and a couple of these stumps that are in here still that I couldn't get out with the grapple. Alright, so I was able to actually reach all the rocks down in that corner without doing anything too funky. Pretty much all of the rock wall out down here. There's still some rocks in the slope. The slope's still kind of messy. But overall, we have all of the core rocks that were in that wall out, and the slope pulled back a little bit. The foundation for this isn't going to be poured for like another 2 weeks. So I'm going to be meeting up with the mason, my friend, to figure out where it's actually getting poured so that I can dig out the rest of it properly and get it all prepped for that. And the other issue is that we now have so much material up here that I don't have anywhere to put stuff. All this material is going to have to get some of it off-site and some of it used for backfill and other little rock walls they wanted to do around here. So I'm going to sneak back across the side of the pile, grab the stumps that I pulled out, toss those in the trailer now to get all the wood out of here. All right, that gets those stumps in there, all of the wood debris pretty much out of here. Just probably some extra from the sifting I'll get out, but yeah, a good first day here. Got all the wall out, piled up, and put all the silt fence back. Got a little pathway here, we can still make it to the other side, and the concrete piled up and ready to go during the week. All right, back a week later, and had a little bit of snow and some colder weather. It's probably the coldest it's been all year, about 10 degrees right now or something like that. So I'm basically going to be taking all this rock and bringing it over to my house and possibly one other site plot that this guy has, and then once I do that, I'm going to load up all the concrete to take during the week. And hopefully that'll be one trailer load. Might have to be a little bit more, but we'll see how it goes when we get to it. Okay, that's a pretty full load. Hopefully it'll dump correctly at the house. If not, I can always use the excavator there to move some stuff around and kind of play around with where the load should be with these rocks. So, took a big dent out of this. We'll be back for some more. All right, pretty dark, but I got all the rocks and debris out of the front yard here. I left a pile of rock here that could be useful for doing some landscaping or some extra rock wall next to the wall that will be built. I was expecting to keep a little bit more over here, but there wasn't much space and there weren't too many like really nice rocks out of there. There was a lot of just kind of small rocks, mortar, and bricks. So I ended up having 8 trips to my house. I was originally projecting around 6 because I was expecting to keep a bit more rock, but nothing too bad. And then I got all the concrete in this one load. It's a little heavy, I think, but I've basically been dumping this much rock all day and it's been fine, so I'll be taking that over to get rid of that, and then I will likely be back here once we figure out where the footers are going to be going for the wall to help dig that out a bit. Alright, nice cold morning, and I'm back to start help digging out the footers. So the water has receded a little bit. I believe this yellow line might be the front of the wall, I'm not sure yet, but the footer will of course be a little bit bigger, and we have to dig out a little bit more for putting in the forms to have it poured. Alright, so after talking with my buddy, the caution tape is the front face of the wall, and the footer is going to be about 2 foot with a bit of an over dig. So ultimately we're going to clean up to the water level backwards about another 1.5 to 2 feet, then maybe a bit extra. So I'm going to have to, ultimately it's just going to be excavating back towards the machine, and hopefully not too much ledge gets in the way. I know there's some down there, and then we have these tree roots right here, so see what we can get out of here. Alright, I was able to clean this out fairly decently. The goal will be to backfill this with stone, so to clean up the grade, lift it a bit more, and then the form will be put on top of that. So hitting a lot of ledge in here, kind of getting as far down as I really can without getting a hammer or getting crazy, ripping everything up. All right, dug out what I could here. Largely this wall is really not as much marked. It's more or less trying to get the bank cleaned up so they can get a clean footer in against it. Whether it's gonna be curved or straight, I'm not sure, but definitely got a lot of material out of there. Okay, so now that I have probably like 20 yards of material on either side here, I'm gonna run home and grab my dump trailer so I can get some of this out of here, because I'm gonna be getting a load of gravel in tomorrow. So hopefully I can get most of this out of here. I can work around it, just easier to have it out of the way so that I can dump the gravel down in the footer area without having to maneuver around piles. Builder's other site here. This is like a whole drive off the road. It's another like 900 feet that way to get to the road and behind some houses, and of course there's a layer of snow, so it's nice and slick. And the way his machines are placed right now, I get just enough space to come in and kind of make this turn over here, which luckily this is a drop off. So the other load I dumped right off the edge, try and get this one off the edge as well. The biggest problem with this snow is it's just enough of a layer to pack hard and then give me no traction. So with this much weight, I get one shot to get it where it's supposed to be, and that's it. Because right now I'm just spinning, which actually, luckily for me, turns my truck back the way I'm supposed to go. But hopefully this lifts. Oh man, this was a heavy load. So I'm hoping I can get one or two more loads in here, but it might be a little tight with my turning radius and the amount of traction I have. So we'll see about one more. All right, loaded up another trailer. I'll take this over to that site and just have a little bit more of material down there to take out. And then I just went through and cleaned up the track marks so it's not a giant rut mess that is frozen solid when I come back. And hopefully a lot of this will start leaching out some of the moisture. It's not supposed to rain or anything for like a week or two. And hopefully this solidifies a bit better than it currently is. Be back in a few days to put in that gravel. All right, I'm back over here on the wall job. Have a triaxle load of 1.5 inch stone, and ultimately I'm just going to be lining where I dug out and a little bit in front of that with stone so that forms can be put down on top of it. Okay, that worked out pretty well. Having the water down there makes it really nice for being able to kind of tell the level on that, since it's naturally leveling. But got everything within about an inch of each other. So that let me get everything about within an inch of itself. Just with the machine, I went down there, raked out some humps that I couldn't quite see with the machine, but overall this should be good to go for getting some footings on it. So that'll be happening in a few days, but right now what I'm going to do is clean up this whole area up here, and then take the remainder of that stone and spread it out so that the concrete truck can make it through this area over here, which is a bit squishy. This is all going to be a patio base over here anyways, so putting stone in there is good. And then I'm going to have to move that pile of rock a little bit further over down into the old boat ramp and toss up some new silt fence that I got. Got this area looking nice. Definitely a lot of space now for concrete truck and guys to set up forms. I managed to move this rock pile pretty much completely up against the bank over here and tossed a couple big ones down at the shoreline so that not only the form guys can get down this way, but the concrete truck will be able to back up all the way and then turn. I'm guessing these concrete blocks are gonna have to move, but I'll help my mason friend if they have to move. I just don't want to move them on my own and put them somewhere they shouldn't. Got all the stone down and the silt fence back up with all the remaining sock that I had. I was short a little bit, but this is more or less just kind of a temporary intern, because as soon as the wall goes in, we're gonna have to backfill and remove this fence and everything like that. So hopefully this area here will be solidified enough. It's still a little squishy, definitely not as bad as the other day I was over here. Of course, if we get enough warmer weather, a lot of the water in here will help leach out towards the lake as it defrosts, but it definitely isn't super solid, but at least has some rock over it, so it'll get a little more traction going through the area. Tell you what though, it's been real nice having the SteelWrist on this job. I actually was in the process of getting it installed when I had talked to my buddy about doing this job, so this is really the, I think, third job I've used it on, just because I got it right at the end of the fall season. But man, if I didn't have this thing on here, I would be struggling doing this job, just because the reach that it gives me with the extra bucket tongue plus the tilt rotator length is just phenomenal. And on top of that, I can spin the bucket around so I can get even further, especially dumping out that gravel and material like that. And really, the biggest thing is on these tight lots where I can really only go up and down, can't really go many other places. It really lets me adjust the bucket how I need to get into all these nooks and crannies, and especially, like, you know, these dig outs, keeping these dig outs super clean and tidying up the shoreline the entire time without having to worry about angling the machine any way I need it to get to the exact angle for the bucket. So I'm guessing the next time I'll be here is likely after the footings are poured and the wall on top of that is poured, because then we'll have to start doing the backfilling. Not sure when that'll be, but the goal, I think, is to get this done before spring, and right now it's the start of February, so I imagine within the month I'll probably be back to do some more here. Alright, here and ready to backfill the wall that's been poured. So, we got some dry stack block behind it and the full wall poured along the whole shoreline. So you can see this is a pretty heavy duty wall we got down here. And they were really happy with the footing base I laid out. The mason's gonna go ahead and side this whole thing with stone. But turned out really good, and actually got more height out of it than we originally had thought, because this height of here matches about with just about the bottom of that tree root section, so there won't be too much slope coming off this side. was 4 total loads brought. Have probably a couple more good buckets out of that little pile there, but can be used for some extra stone where needed. But the whole wall is backfilled now. Left this area a little bit lower because the patio that's going to go there. And then got everything filled all the way down. So definitely plenty of stone behind it, and going to drain pretty good. Now I know I'll get some comments about why we didn't use fabric or woven geotextile, non-woven geotextile, whatever it might be, or why we didn't use geogrid. I don't know. There's always somebody that's going to complain that we didn't do it the right way. But based on the plans, the engineering didn't require it. And the mason I'm working with doesn't believe in putting the fabric behind the wall just because it can cause hydrostatic pressure. If there was a bunch of water behind it, it froze, didn't make it through, it can shift the whole wall versus it just bleeding through the stone. This is all going to be in water anyway, so there's going to be water in this no matter what. It's really a never-ending battle. It also really depends on the materials and how the soil is. Pretty much all of the soil that wasn't being dug directly out of the bottom of the lake was pretty sandy, pretty gravelly. It drains well. So all of this is going to drain fine. It's going to drain underneath the footing. And then of course when the water comes up in the summer, it's going to be up over the footing. So the whole thing's going to be submerged anyway. So I guess that's some reasoning as to why we didn't use it. But of course everybody has their own thoughts and opinions on how they do it, and every part of the country is different. So anyways, enough of that ranting. I'm going to go place some rocks. So as I've mentioned before, I saved a lot of the larger rocks from the wall in the dig out, and that's because we wanted to put some on the other corner here of where the wall ends due to this tree. And I'm going to try to see if I can put a couple big ones right off this corner here just to get this tree trunk and root system protected from waves. And then we might be using more of those rocks on the upper portion here to tier out something else. But for now, let me see if I can sneak one in here. All right, it's kind of hard to see, but because I don't have my muck boots on, but these rocks lined up pretty well. It was just a matter of seating them in there. These ones have a very similar angle to them. Just be nice if I kind of break off that bottom. I just don't have the right tools on me right now. Get them a little closer, but those line up pretty well. Toss that one in there just for now, because I really don't know what's going on over here. This is an old boat ramp with a bunch of asphalt that's all breaking up, so I'm sure this whole area is probably going to change, but I figure just toss some of these rocks that look like they fit in here, and then we can worry about using the other ones. So main goal is just to make sure that I got a couple big ones down here, and I can fiddle to make them more perfect once we know what's going on here. Because all right, so this thing's all backfilled, prepped up, and ready for my friend to start working on the veneer, the cap, and any of the other items related to the wall. As I mentioned before, I left this low because he's going to do a patio here, and then there's also going to be a walk up and then another patio up here. So he's doing those two items, and I'm pretty sure I'll be back to help him with those, and then I'll likely also be back during that time to do a lot of the final grade and landscaping, you know, be it whatever they choose. Don't know yet, but it's in the works right now for what they're deciding. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, I'm either going to be exporting those rocks, or we're going to be using them for other portions of the corner of the wall or a terracing landscaping up here. So more work to be done here, but as for this part of the video, I will consider this complete.